Hey Falcons fans! The team wasted no time making moves after the disappointing end to their 2024 season, missing the playoffs. But don't worry, they're already looking ahead and making key changes to improve for next year. If you're excited for what's to come, hit that like button and drop a rise up in the comments below. On Monday, the Falcons announced the signing of 12 players to reserve future contracts. This is a smart move to add depth to the roster and scout new talent for the upcoming season. Some of the big names on the list include former first-round pick Philip Dorsett, a fast and experienced wide receiver, and defensive tackle Junior Aho, who'll add strength to the defensive line. Other players added include running back Elijah Dotson, wide receiver Dylan Drummond, offensive guard Joey Pfizer, offensive lineman Javon Gwynn, cornerback Lamar Jackson, quarterback Emory Jones, outside linebacker Ked Kareem, wide receiver Jesse Matthews, safety Benny Sapp III, and offensive lineman Tyrone Wheatley Jr. A number of these players were already part of the Falcons' practice squad last season, including Aho, Dorsett, Dotson, Drummond, Gwynn, Jackson, Jones, Kareem, Sapp, and Wheatley Jr. Matthews also spent time with the team during training camp, but didn't make the final roster. Pfizer, who went undrafted in 2023 from Shepherd University, has had stints with the 49ers, Steelers, and Browns. Head coach Raheem Morris made it clear in his press conference on Monday that these moves are part of the plan to build a stronger team moving forward. Coach Raheem Morris knows the Falcons have a lot of work to do after finishing the 2024 season with an 8-9 record, missing the playoffs for the 7th year in a row. He emphasized the need for the team to keep improving, especially after the mid-season struggles that hurt their chances. "We fell short, and it's disappointing for all of us," Morris said. "We have to find ways to avoid that mid-season slump, keep improving, and continue playing at a high level across the board." The goal is clear. The Falcons want to get back to the playoffs where they belong. Now, Falcons fans, here's the big question. What do you think about these roster changes? Are these the right moves to turn the team around? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, there's growing buzz that the Falcons are planning to put serious pressure on Kirk Cousins this offseason. With Michael Penix Jr. being considered as the team's new quarterback, Cousins' future in Atlanta is looking uncertain. Most people thought the Falcons might just release him, especially since his no-trade clause makes it tough to move him. But hold on, there's a twist. NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe recently dropped some inside info, revealing that the Falcons aren't planning to release Cousins outright. Instead, they're looking at possible trade offers. This could change everything. If the trade offers don't pan out, the Falcons are even open to keeping Kirk Cousins as a backup behind Michael Penix Jr. Talk about making a statement. Adam Schefter recently reported that the Falcons are likely to release Cousins before his $10 million roster bonus kicks in on March 17th. But local insider Josh Kindle hinted that keeping Cousins around isn't totally off the table. To add more fuel to the fire, Bleacher Report's James Palmer mentioned that some people in the Falcons organization believe Cousins might no longer be able to perform at a high level, and that his career could be winding down. His stats from last season, 358 yards, 18 touchdowns, and a career-high 16 interceptions, show just how much he struggled before being benched. So what's next for Cousins and the Falcons? Could they actually keep him as a backup, or is a trade in the cards? We want to hear from you, Falcons fans. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As for the Falcons' 2024 season, it ended in heartbreak with a tough 44-38 overtime loss to the Carolina Panthers. Despite the disappointment, head coach Raheem Morris isn't wasting any time. Less than 24 hours after the final whistle, he made it clear, "Our job starts today. 2025 starts today." This offseason is already in full swing, with a lot of questions about the future direction of the team. Even with optimism around Morris taking over, the Falcons finished 8-9, only slightly improving from past seasons. Under Arthur Smith, the Falcons have now had 7 straight losing seasons, 6 different starting quarterbacks in just 4 years, and yet another year without making the playoffs. The pressure is definitely building. One of the main areas of concern this offseason? The defense. Coach Raheem Morris didn't hold back when discussing the defense's performance in the final game against the Panthers, calling it terrible. When asked about the future of defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake, Morris didn't place blame but stressed the importance of a complete evaluation of everything. We have to evaluate all of our coaches, all of our players, and everything we do, from top to bottom, Morris said. It's not an easy task. The Falcons entered the 2024 season with 33 coaches, 23 of whom, including Morris, Lake, and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson, were new hires. 10 coaches were retained from the previous staff, including special teams coordinator Marcus Williams. Change is always part of the NFL, and Morris knows that better than anyone. In this league, nothing stays the same, whether it's players or coaches, he said. That's just how it is. We're going to keep making those moves, and we're starting right now. In fact, changes have already begun, starting with Chandler Whitmer. The Falcons' passing game specialist has accepted a new role as co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Indiana University. Could more changes be on the way? It certainly seems possible. Coach Raheem Morris summed it up best. There's always going to be changes from every perspective. There are always changes you can make, especially when you start the evaluation process. It's about being brutally honest with yourself and others to do what's best for the fan base. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Is it time for a complete rebuild, or do you believe this team is just a few pieces away from being a playoff contender? Grady Jarrett deserves better from this organization. And honestly, so do you, the loyal fans. Grady has poured his heart and soul into this franchise for 10 seasons. He's played in 152 games, started 137, and missed only 12 games. Pretty impressive for a fifth-round pick from Clemson. He's a two-time Pro Bowler and was even nominated for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award this season for his excellence both on and off the field. This year, Grady struggled to recover from a torn ACL in record time, played under his third head coach and sixth defensive coordinator, and yet, here we are again, with another year without a playoff appearance. That's 7 years in a row. Despite all of this, Grady remains loyal. When speaking to the media after the season ended, he didn't criticize the leadership. Instead, he expressed hope, saying, "I'm not giving up. Nobody in this building wants it more than we do. We're definitely headed in the right direction," said Grady Jarrett, speaking with hope and determination after another tough season. While his optimism is admirable, the truth is, Grady Jarrett deserves better. And honestly, so do you, the loyal Falcons fans. 7 years without a playoff appearance is a long time. With Denver making the postseason this year, the Falcons now share the second longest active playoff drought in the NFL, just behind the New York Jets. Sure, the Falcons have one of the best stadiums and fan experiences in the league, but at the end of the day, it's the results on the field that truly matter. Let's not forget, this was a team that made bold moves last offseason. They signed Raheem Morris, brought in Kirk Cousins with a big deal, and added Pro Bowl defensive backs Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon. But despite all those efforts, the Falcons only managed to win one more game than the previous year, finishing 8-9. I asked Grady Jarrett about the frustration of putting in so much work, only to end up with another year without a playoff spot. His answer was honest. Definitely it's frustrating, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to think the answer is to leave. The work I've put in for 7 years here matters. The grass isn't always greener elsewhere. That kind of loyalty is rare in this league, but for all his leadership, commitment, and on-field performance, Grady needs this franchise to turn things around. The Falcons must reward his trust with a winning culture. Ownership needs to take responsibility. Arthur Blank has hired 6 head coaches and 3 general managers during his time as owner. Yet despite having the best quarterback in franchise history for 14 years, his overall record is just 186-185-1. The defense was inconsistent, and the pass rush was invisible for much of the season. Costly game management mistakes also played a role in the Falcons' struggles this season. But this isn't about blaming one person. It's about overall accountability. Grady Jarrett has just 1 year left on his contract. He'll be 32 in April and entering his 11th season. He's not giving up, but the question is, isn't it time for him, and for you, the fans, to see a return on that faith? What do you think, Falcons fans? Should the team make radical changes or stick with the current leadership? What does this franchise need to finally break the playoff drought? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next update. Rise up, Falcons.